I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mrs. Burns, roll call.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Lafferty?
Here.
Mrs. Marshall?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Sporny is absent with prior notice, and Mrs. Waldweiser.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters related to confidential employment matters and the lease of Pearl S. Buck. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Mr. Bowman, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Congratulations to 13 members of the Neshaminy High School Science Club who are in first place for their science project presentations in the Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science Regional Competition in Bensalem over the weekend, along with 14 second and third place winners. The students have been working all year on these projects, which requires them to create a scientific hypothesis, conduct experiments, collect data, analyze the data, draw conclusions, and present their findings to a panel of judges. The first place winners will be heading to the state PJAS competition in May to deliver an updated presentation on these ongoing scientific projects. So congratulations to all of our students. Last Thursday evening, I had the pleasure of watching the Tower of Power competition at Carl Sandburg Middle School. This is an engineering competition they do every year that involves over 120 students who worked in teams of 3 or 4 to build the tallest tower possible out of straws and masking tape in just 1 hour. Tower of Power is a fun way to teach STEM skills and the value of teamwork. I was extremely impressed with the thought students put into the towers, not to mention their team costumes, which are also part of the competition. So congratulations to Carl Sandburg. Great job as usual. And finally, of course, this is Gym Night week, and we're all looking forward to seeing what our blue and red teams have put together this year. Gym 3 will be decorated this Thursday evening. The props will be rolled in, and the months of hard work by everyone involved with this massive effort will finally be on display Friday and Saturday. The theme this year is Game On, which is a celebration of the classic family board and video games that we all remember and probably some of us still play. For those of you keeping track, this is the 71st annual Gym Night at Neshaminy, which got its start back in 1954. Good luck to both the red and blue teams, and congratulations to the grade level and color captains for all their creativity and hard work. This is probably the hardest ticket to any event in the state of Pennsylvania by far. So it's an awesome weekend for kids, probably one of the most inclusive events you will ever see in a high school. It's something we look forward to every year. So again, congratulations to all of our students and staff involved. And that's all I have, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mrs. Burns, that brings us to the first public comment period. Any sign-ups?
Yeah, one sign up, Jason Neal.
Please push the button, identify your name, where you live, and your occupation.
Yes, thank you. My name's Jason Neal. I live at 1414 Center Ave in Feasterville, PA, 19053. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I'm here representing LSAA flag football. We use your facilities or your fields at behind Pequessing Middle School. Prior years, this is our 25th season running this league. This is my first year assisting with running the league. Prior years, with waiver signs, the field use hasn't cost us anything at all to use it. This year, we received notice that it's going to cost us anywhere from $50 to $75 an hour. And then we learned there was a basketball program at Hoover Elementary School. Things ran through NAB, I believe it's called. In August, there was a deal made for, I forget the dollar, I think it was like $8 an hour for rent the gym. And then this year, in September 25th, they received notice that fee is now $225 an hour just to rent the gym space. I want to know where that fee's coming from. Where's the justification on it? I mean, I make $0 running this flag football league. Nothing goes into my pocket. Everything is for the kids. And we're trying to keep our costs low so the kids just have options outside of school because, as you know, sports aren't available for the school for the kids up until 7th grade, I believe. Please quote me if I'm wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. There's no intramurals at Furter Bar, Furter Bar and Pequessing up until 7th grade. That's not even an option. So what we're trying to do is provide a service for the kids to be able to play flag football on Sundays with an occasional practice during the week. And we're just trying to get an idea of how we can give us a break on these costs. I mean, we can't afford it. There's no way. And I'm trying not to cancel this league for these kids. I have almost 200 families signed up this season, and they're waiting for me to give them an answer on what they can do. Thank you very much.
So, sir, that process in regards to facility usage fees and so forth is about a 2-year process that's driven through our policy committee. It is on the agenda to be discussed at that policy committee meeting again. That is March 20th. I'll be happy to meet with you afterwards, answer any questions. You know, if you want to wait till tomorrow, we can discuss via phone to give you some thoughts on that. But again, you bring up Neshaminy Academy of Basketball compared to LSAA, 2 different things, right? You're a 501c3 at LSAA. That's going to be a whole different set of fee structures than someone that isn't like an NAB. So 2 different worlds there, right? But we will definitely take a look at your usage facilities. Again, it's March 20th, which is a Thursday at 6:30 in this room. Policy committee will be discussing those facility usage fees again. And we know they're a concern, and the board is looking at some things. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. That brings us to section 2, routine matters. I'd like to make a master motion to approve item 2.01 minutes, 2.02 treasurer's report, 2.03 check register and procurement card purchases, 2.04 budget transfers, 2.05 bids, 2.06 investments, and 2.07 exonerations. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. I'm going to make a master motion now for section 3 and 4. I'd like to make a master motion to approve item 3.01, retirement resignations and end of assignments, 4.01 appointments, 4.02 leaves of absence, 4.03 changes to leaves, 4.04 revised leaves of absence, 4.05 co-curricular resignations, 4.06 co-curricular appointments, and that's it. And I would like to, there's a motion on the floor, but I would also like to note that under the personnel administrative retirements, A. Colin Trickell is retiring with 33.8 years of service, so we would like to thank him for his service. So there's a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Rodriguez. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Mrs. Hollenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I would like to make a master motion for 5.01. This is for personnel support. 5.01 retirements, resignations, end of assignments. 5.02 appointments. 5.03 leaves of absence, 5.04 revised leaves of absence. That's it.
Motion on the floor, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Allen. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Mrs. Hollenbeck? Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Business operations, I'd like to make a master motion for 6.01 BCIU number 22, 2025 through 2026 program and services instructional materials, a research service budget, and 6.02 lease agreement and memorandum of understanding for Pearl S. Buck Elementary School and BCIU number 22.
We have a motion on the floor, can I get a second? Second by Mrs. Brochus, thank you for raising your hand. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Educational Development, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'd like to make a master motion for 7.01 homebound instruction and 7.02 overnight trips.
We have a motion on the floor, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Allen. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. That brings us to the closing of the meeting. Anyone have any other board business? Okay. Now it's time for the second public comment period. If anyone has anything they'd like to approach the podium, please, your name and where you reside.
Lance Seggers, 98 Queen Lily Road. Last meeting, I spoke about the current process for sale of property. I did figure out on my own, which I kind of already knew at the meeting, but I don't know if my answer or if my question was answered to my satisfaction, but the board does hold the power in altering that process. In discussing with numerous residents, as well as, posting it to a community forum of Middletown residents, there was a lot of people who feel the same as me in regards to that process, not adequately bringing in the rest of the community when the board is deciding to sell properties, because it does affect the whole community. I guess my question one tonight is, are there any board members who feel like that process is inadequate in bringing in the community in selling property? Okay. My second question being, because I did get such a big response, what would it take for the board to consider changing that process? A petition? How many signatures? What would be adequate in this board feeling like the community has spoken?
Mr. Torrente, you want to address that?
School
School code.
I mean, it's public comment, there's no response due from the board, so, I don't know what you really want from the board tonight. It is public comment. If you have anything else you want to add, feel free to do so.
So when would I be able to speak to the board and get a response from the board as far as?
Do you want to talk to me after the meeting about what exactly you want to know? Okay. All right.
That brings us to board comment. Anyone have any board comment? No, no one else came up, yeah. I saw that already. John?
Just a couple quick things. I want to shout out to our public relations group, Mr. Stanley, who made sure that the Tower of Power was all over our social media. It's one of those events that when I see it, it's like, darn, I keep forgetting. I wish I could have gone to see it, but I just love that. Of course, being engineering oriented, that's fantastic. The other thing I want to point out, I noticed a number of my colleagues shared a report, I don't know where it was generated from, but it put our baseball fields as number one out of what's top 10 in Pennsylvania, I believe, which thrills me to no end because of how the struggle to get that whole project off the ground and done when it began, you may or may not know, it basically started with the girls field hockey team wanted a better field. And it became what it became, which I'm not at all unhappy with. We just didn't expect that's where it was going. And last thing, gym night, of course, Neshaminy, this is where we all shine. I think all the other districts bow down to us. Gym night's fantastic tradition here. And there's nothing more dramatic than the parting of the colors, but it's even more emotional and dramatic in the rejoining after the competition. And I wish both red and blue team the best. Have a great weekend and go blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Anyone else?
I just want to do a quick plug for our middle schools who are starting their musicals in the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't seen online, Bequesing's doing Beetlejuice Jr., Sandburg's doing Beauty and the Beast Jr., and Maple Point is doing Rock of Ages. So tickets are available, and they are great shows, very family friendly. So if you get an opportunity, come out and see them.
Thank you. Okay, if no one else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Before I, let me hold off for 1 second. I forgot to mention future meetings. The Facilities and Planning Committee meeting for the 13th is going to be canceled. It will be posted because that committee and business operations will be merged together. So the next meeting will be business operations on March 26th, and then there's an educational development on March 4th, and the policy committee meeting, which is on March 20th, which Mr. Bellman referred to. That being said,
Public work session, March 11th.
and public work session, March 11th, yes. All right, now I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second? Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
Go blue.